Hey, at this time, we'd like to introduce our special guest for the episode. This gentleman is the presiding city magistrate of the 35th largest city in America. That's Mesa, Arizona. Please welcome with me the Judge Matt Tafoya. Please welcome Matt Tafoya to the stage. Come on up, sir. Something you should know, baby. Good to have you here, Judge Tafoya.
It's good to be here.
Well, welcome, and give us a little background on who you are and how you got here.
Well, I've been a judge for about exactly 37 years now. And the last 17 years I've been with the city of Mesa as the presiding judge. And it was a good move for me because under my philosophy on rule of law, Mesa was a good fit. And that's proven to be true. So I applied. And by the time I applied, it was 2003. If you all remember Mayor Hawker, Whalen, and Griswold, I interviewed with that group. I made it to the finals and was appointed. By that time, I had tried more juries than any judge in the state. That's my claim. In 1989, I tried 70 jury trials to a verdict within the period of 1 year, amongst other work that judges do. A lot of courtroom experience. So I ended up here in Mesa, and I've been here for 17 years, and it's been a great ride.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. 70 trials to conclusion in 1 year.
79.
79, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's trial work.
Well, being a judge, I always thought would look awesome, because for one thing, you know what you're wearing to work that day.
Oh, well.
Right?
That's true. The black robe.
Now, how does a guy become a judge? Is there a possibility I could become a judge?
Yes.
See you, folks. Well, where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to? I'm assuming you went to law school?
I went to law school at ASU.
All right.
And then from there, I was in private practice, became a prosecutor. Then in 1984, applied for a judgeship, and I got it. And I've been a judge ever since. And I did a little civil work, but mainly criminal when I was in private practice. And of course, as a prosecutor, you prosecute in the interest of justice. I did a lot of justice as a prosecutor and moved on from there.
That's awesome. Now, I know Mesa, boy, it's just a city that's booming, and it's the third largest in the state. Is
That's correct? Third largest city in the state. We're the third largest court in the state. We're going to be passing Tucson eventually, because Tucson's the second. Of course, Phoenix is number one, because they have a huge population. So Mesa is in the forefront as far as being the third largest city and giving service to the community, especially in the interest of public safety and also public health.
That's great. Now, what are specialty courts, and how do they fit in with the judiciary in Mesa?
Well, specialty courts are designed for specific people in our community who really, and I heard it referred to earlier, people who don't have a support system. We have a veterans court, and it's one of the best veterans court in the state. And it runs a little different than other courts because we really have an evaluation of the veteran before they come in to the court. And we've been running the court for about 4 years, extremely successful in getting veterans. And we've had about 30 veterans graduate from that court with their lives improved. So that's the specialty court for veterans, because Mesa supports its veterans. And that's proven by the mayor and the council. The whole community, 400,000 to 500,000 people, support the veterans. And our court is a reflection of that support. We have an incredible veterans court. The other court we have, that's unique to Mesa, and we in Mesa, we've led the forefront with legislation. And that has to do with Rule 11 competency courts that have to deal with determining whether a person's mentally incompetent or not. Most of these people are seriously mentally ill. They have mental illness. And what we did in that is got legislation passed through the legislature and signed by the governor that allows our court here in Mesa to do the hearings in Mesa, not sending our mentally ill people to Phoenix and to the Phoenix court. Before, a mentally ill person in Mesa would spend 6 to 9 months and sometimes a year in jail before they could have a hearing downtown Phoenix. We reduced that to 47 days. You know, and the mayor always talks about he wants all persons treated in a humane way. If that doesn't do it, I don't know what does. So if someone files an incompetency hearing, we have it in 47 days with a ruling, and sometimes shorter. The third court we have is our community court, the only community court in the state of Arizona. We are the lead court in that respect as well. And we started that court about 2 years ago. But that court had been in the planning for many, many years, even before I came to Mesa, because we have a segment of our population that have no support system. And you all know this. I'm not going to educate you on it. You're an educated public. But we have people that live on the streets of all ages, have no support system. And they're cited into court with criminal cases that are low-level crimes. Trespass, for example, in the court. When we had open our community court to service this population, we had about 1,000 people come in 1 year that were cited into that court. And of that 1,000, we had about 126 graduates, or 128 graduates. And of those 128 graduates, their history in Mesa, these are mentally ill people, alcoholics, homeless who lost their jobs. Of the 128 that graduated, this is a phenomenal number. They had about 17,000 police contacts since 2006. They had about 1,700 arrests. And now we've reduced that quite a bit because these people had no support system. The community court offers a support system, and it takes a community effort, 100% community effort, supported by the mayor, council, city management, police, and the court, to make this program successful. And we've had that support. We have the Mark Institute, Community Bridges, city manager's office, the police involved, the head public defender, the prosecutor, the Native American community has stepped up. They've taken about 189 Native Americans off the street, and now they have, and they've placed them. They've had 14 graduates, and of those that they've been servicing, 24 have been reemployed, and are working, which means that's bringing money into the community. And I have to say, Kevin Molson, with the Native American community, and we have he meets. They are very, I like to call it in my words, face to face with their clientele, and they're extremely successful. And we've taken a lot of people off the street, and that's good for public safety, but also public health. Is, you know, these individuals, when you have most of the cases are trespass, the history for these people, and you saw 17,000 contacts with the police and 7,000 or 8,000 arrests. It was a circle. You arrest them, and I'll quote the mayor, and they're warehoused in jail, and the most they sometimes can get is 30 days in jail. They get out. The police pick them up and put them in. This issue of homelessness, mental illness, we have people that are alcoholics, all that combination. These people can come into our community court. It's voluntary, and we provide them a good service. And so you got the feel of what we're doing in there. And I'll tell you, the city of Mesa is leading, and we're getting these people off the street and services. So that's quite an accomplishment. We're the only community court in the state. And And we thought we would form a court that takes care of all the social issues these people have. And it's working quite well. Our community in Mesa can be really proud of what we've done.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds to me like you guys are doing some great things. Are other communities, other cities, other courts taking what you're doing and modeling after that?
Yes, every court, we all follow the constitutional laws of our country. But when you've seen one court, you've only seen one court. They're all different. Smaller courts, not as many resources and stuff, but we've had numerous courts come to observe not only the community court, but the Veterans Court. And in fact, we got Tucson coming up to look at our community court in about 2 weeks. But we have numerous courts come, and they take what we have and try to model it so they can do it. I've made many presentations to many judges and courts throughout the state. So it's quite popular concept because it treats people humanely, with dignity. And that's what we need to do. So it's going throughout the state. I would add here that when you want to know the success, I gave you some numbers now, but these are unsolicited awards from the Supreme Court. The City of Mesa Municipal Court, City of Mesa, got one of the highest awards, Access to Justice. Another award that came was in the most innovative court. Again, we have to say it's a community effort. Support of the mayor, the council, all members of the community, city management, police, everybody together is making it successful. The Mayor Giles went to the mayor's conference. All the mayors of the United States are at this conference. And guess what? Mayor Giles received the Outstanding Large City Livability Award for the city of Mesa based on the community court. Now, how is that when you have national recognition like that? And it's good for the community because when you have livability, it means we're walking the walk. We're not just talking it. We're getting a lot done in the city of Mesa. And also, I'll just add this. Mayor Giles has done an incredible job, and you've all been to I know I've seen a lot of you, the State of the City address that he made this year, and the one last year. And each one, he mentioned the community court. And it reflects the heart and soul of Mesa that we do care for people.
That's great. If you could, I don't know if this is a fair question or even makes sense, but if you could unilaterally just decide to make some changes, what would you like to see? How would you like to see change happen in the courts?
Well, it's natural for us because that's what we've been doing. I don't know another court that's accomplished what the city of Mesa has accomplished in the court in my 17 years there. We have an incredible staff, and it takes a special group of people who come together, and every so often in organizations, you have incredible people. It can be national, Congress, legislature, whatever, but in the city of Mesa, we have that. A really great, talented group of people that are passionate. And when you have, and it doesn't happen all the time, when they all come together, you can get incredible things done. And so what you do is my simple way of thinking is, this is not right. This just isn't right. And when I say that, I would have to say that 100% of the people in the community would say, that's not right. You know what happens then? You form a project and get it done. And if you need the resources of the community, you have to educate them, and believe me, they will support you. So the answer to your question is you have to define the project and then get the support of the community. Now, that's the way we would move forward in the future. There's a lot of things we'd like to do, but we have, you only have a finite number of resources. So you have to prioritize what you want to do. I mean, I would like to have an arraignment center, but that has to be way down the road, because that's a big project. And
Would you be open if anybody has any questions from the audience?
oh, I love
You
any
can handle
questions.
yourself. Anybody got a
Yeah.
question for the judge here while you? Yes, sir. Keith.
You mentioned that some of them will graduate. How do they graduate?
Well, in the court, number one, the police cite them into the court, or other judges put them into our community court. Number one, it's voluntary. And what we do is we have an exchange with all the individuals in there. We're not, and I hope I can get this across here, we're not there saying, I'm going to help you. That's a sense of arrogance, and it's really about me, I'm going to help you. What we're there to do is have an exchange with them, and we have directives that they must follow. I even had one guy say, well, I don't want to be in here. He was giving me a hard time in the courtroom, and I said to him, look, they're educated. We have an educated public. I said, nothing in life is free. So you follow our directives, and the exchange will be the prosecutor, Mr. Hawkins, will review what you've done. If it's good, he'll dismiss the charge, and he'll recommend the dismissal or the suspension of all fines for the last 10 or 15 years you have. That's the exchange, and you have to work for it. So the directive is work with your navigator, Community Bridges or Mark Institute or the Native American community, and constant contact with them. Don't miss your court appearances. And also, we also include one thing, and I really, would encourage you guys to come and watch the community court. We ask each member, because they are members of our community, they're members of our community, we ask them in the courtroom to please do something good for your community. Go out and do something good. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not an order, and you don't even have to tell us that you did it if you don't want the next court date, but they're proud to come back. And they come back and they tell us the good. They picked up some garbage and thrown it away. We had one person bring another person who had a warrant to court. They're helping people. One of them said, I was polite to the police because there's been a lot of contact. I'll tell you, the relationship with the police and the homeless is really great now. She waved to a police officer to say kind of a good morning. The officer then wheeled around, came and asked her what she was doing. She said, I was in a community court. I was asked to do something good for the community. I just wanted to be nice to you.
Wow.
So they come back and make that report. So they're now becoming part of the community, doing something good for the community. So that's, does that give your answer? Any more questions from anybody? There's got to be some questions.
You mentioned
go
that.
ahead. Yeah, we got a question.
Lee's the man here.
I wonder if you can take a minute and just walk through the Veterans Court, how it starts. I've been to the courts and how that starts, and it was actually kind of a patriotic moment for me.
Okay, now what I want to say is that our community court is modeled after our Veterans Court. So, a veteran, we find out a person's a veteran because they let us know. Again, it's voluntary. We see them in the courtroom, ask them if they want to go in to the Veterans Court, and they do. The requirement is that they have to have an evaluation. I believe we're the only court that requires an evaluation before they go in, so that we have our whole community in a review it, and it's a staging area before courtroom where we have before court. All these people meet for a staffing. It's a VA, public defenders, prosecutors, the navigators who are assisting the veterans. We all meet, and then also once that report, the evaluation comes to the committee, to the staffing, we all review that report and decide what that veteran needs. They have already been interviewed, and what are the needs of the veteran? What's his life circumstance? We do that in the community court as well. What can we do? What are the benefits the VA has? What can we offer in counseling? So we have that staffing in the morning. We have the court starts about 2 hours later. We have 2 sessions in a day. We meet every other week. And what happens is we go into the courtroom. And I'd invite you to come and see it because it's very emotional. We go into the courtroom and we have every person, and we do this in community court. We have every person, the judge introduces himself and says why we're there, to give them a path to improving their lives. The exchange. They do what we ask. The exchange is prosecutor and the court will suspend fines, dismiss charges, or whatever. So every person and navigator introduces themselves to the veterans in the courtroom. After that is done, and what their role is in assisting them, and in a community court, we always say it's the only court like this in the state, and I'll tell you the feedback is they can't believe what's happening. And this is with our community court. People are emotional. We have every veteran stand and introduce themselves, the branch of service they served in, how long, and also anything they want us to know about them. And sometimes they bring a support system, their spouse, sisters, brothers, father. So that introduction goes on. And I'll tell you, if you hear some of them, 4 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, the young guy is 35 years old, and he's in trouble. It's quite emotional, but we get through that, and then after that, court starts. And all the parties gather around each veteran and find what they need. The directives are given by the judge, the orders, and they sign the directive, and then we'll see them another day. Once they complete all the directives that are asked, we have a graduation. And we had a graduation with a Marine, been in the service like 20-some years. And he was a lot of assaultive behavior and drinking. I'll tell you, he broke down in tears, thanking the city of Mesa and all the navigators in that room for affording him the opportunity that he didn't have before. Because when he came out, he said the best thing that ever happened to him was that he committed some assaults and disorderly conducts in the city of Mesa, and we got him into our Veterans Court. And I'll tell you, he just was very appreciative. But that's just one story. In the last 6 weeks, we've graduated 35 veterans, about 35 veterans. So when we're talking about the veterans, let's relate it to the community court. People have gone up there and said, God bless America for what you're doing here today and give me an opportunity to move on, and they graduate.
Wow.
Now, that's what we're about. So
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I'll end it with this because I know we're running short on time. Just a hypothetical question. If there was a gentleman, let's say that he hosted like a cable TV show in Mesa, and he had a speeding ticket, would it be beneficial if he was friends with the city magistrate? Would that?
Well, we started out first, are you a veteran? Hey, you know, I think I've been a judge 37 years, and I swear I've seen him somewhere. No, I'm kidding. No.
Well, you know, I put 2 and 2 together while Judge, and thank you so much for spending time. Yeah. I started realizing when he said a lot of times people can be very afraid to see a judge if they've got maybe a warrant. And I started thinking, that's why Mike Picard is not here today. So let's spread that rumor. No, folks, these are just jokes, all right? I want to thank you so much. And I don't know, as a judge, are you allowed to take gifts from the public?
No.
No?
No,
Well,
we're fair and impartial at all times.
Well, I know. Well, okay. Well, this isn't a gift. This is a thank you for being here from one of our chamber members. It is a $100 detailed gift card from Cobblestone Auto Spa. So you can take your your vehicle of choice in and get it buffed up and cleaned up. And
Well, I've got a 1994 Ram truck. That's a pretty, I really appreciate it.
cobblestone is everywhere in the valley. Matter of fact, they're probably building 3 or 4 right now. So if there's not one in your neighborhood, hang on, there will be soon.
Okay.
But we thank you so much. And boy, what an enlightening, you've really told us a lot about Mesa. Just another reason to be proud of the city of Mesa.
Yeah, I would invite everyone here to please come and visit your court. And let me know. I'll take you on a tour and you can see what's happening in your court here in Mesa. So the invitation is always open.
That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, thank you so much, Judge Matt Tafoya.
In my mind, I feel it's meant to be.